Welcome, everyone, to the Play Action Podcast, episode number 48. But this is episode number 1 for us on the uSTADIUM platform. So we would like to thank Ryan, Nick, Frankie, the whole gang over at uSTADIUM welcoming us over. It's been a big pleasure. I am Will. I am a Jets fan. I got a bunch of jerseys behind me, which is kind of covered up by the banner, but you guys will eventually see that momentarily. And I got my guy Colton here. Colton, how are you doing?
I'm great, Will. I'm excited for new opportunities, and what a great show we're gonna start off with, and what a banger, man! I'm excited for this one.
I'll let you introduce them to everyone.
Well, welcome back, folks. From the Personal Foul podcast, Dean Blandino coming on here, just in case you folks weren't aware. If you watch any NFC games, Fox Sports, rule analyst Dean, thanks for coming on, man. Glad to talk to you again.
Yeah, it's great to be back. A lot going on already. Just, first quarter of the season and a ton of stuff. Your Jets and Steelers are, I don't know what's going on with those two teams, but a lot to talk about.
That is, see, you didn't have to start off with a low jab. I mean, geez, but it's all right. It's okay. It's all right.
I'm already a Jeff fan.
Hey, I grew up a Giants fan, so it's not much better.
Yeah, they're interesting too, man. I'm actually going to the game this weekend against the Rams, so we'll see what happens with that. I'm excited to see the Rams, that's for certain.
Thank you, Ryan.
Will, what do we got going on here, Will? What do we got going on for this great show?
Well, I got my first question. So I'm a communications major graduate from Stockton University. So I just want to know the background story. So there's, challenge flag on the field, coaches challenge, review and process. How is the process on your end going into, introducing, yourself onto the television screens of everyone all over the U.S. watching these games?
Yeah, so we're in a studio and we've got all of our games. There's a monitor wall with all of our games up, so I can watch what's happening. If I've got 3 games, I can see those 3 games. I've also got a system where we're capturing all of the games, and I can run the video back and forth, a jog shuttle wheel. And I can access, the angles that are going out over the program feed, and just watching the games and looking for different things that could potentially be an issue, whether it's a tight catch at the sideline, maybe it's a fumble, anything rules related. I'm also listening to the on-air talent, listening to them if they're talking about a rule. And I have a direct line to the producer in the TV truck. So that person that's producing that game, I can communicate with them. And I can tell them, hey, they're talking about this rule. Here's a point they want to make. I can reemphasize something. I can tell them, yeah, that's a good point. Or, you know what, we're quoting the rule wrong. And so that's happening throughout the game. And then, probably maybe once or twice a game, it might be something significant where I have to go on the air. And literally, I've got a camera positioned in front of me. I can turn to that camera. I've got the producer in my ear. He says, okay, we're going to bring in Dean. I can hear whether it's Kevin Burkhardt or Adam Amin, whoever it is, they'll say, okay, let's bring in Dean Blandino from LA and let's talk about this play. And then I just look at the camera and I go. So it's seamless. And it happens pretty quickly. And it's a lot of fun on game days.
So my question for you, with the NFL, big change, the no fun league is back, the taunting penalties. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, geez, we've seen a few that have been really questionable. I think a lot was week 2. We saw a lot of them. What are your overall thoughts on the change of the taunting penalty kind of being back in the league here?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a part of this, and this tends to be cyclical. Sportsmanship is always a big point of emphasis. Every year you look at player safety, you look at the competitive aspects of the game and sportsmanship. Those are kind of the 3 pillars. And I think a lot of it came from the coaches subcommittee that works with the competition committee. They felt that on the taunting stuff, the stuff directed at an opponent, we started to see that more. So they wanted the committee to look at it and the officials to kind of crack down on it. And they certainly have. You look at through the first 5 weeks of the season so far, 14 taunting penalties compared to only 4 last year. So that's a big jump. But it's still, you think about 14 and we've played 5 weeks. So you can do the math in terms of number of games. We're not talking about 1 a game. We're talking about, 1 every couple of games, but still they're 15-yard penalties. There's significant penalties when they happen. But again, I think it goes to the overall sportsmanship of the game, trying to clean that up, make sure getting the calls where it's really taunting. It's directed at an opponent. It's not just the normal trash talk that happens. I think that's some of the problems that people have with it. They're just talking. It's not really derogatory. It's not really directed at the opponent in terms of something demonstrative. And that, you should give the officials a little bit of discretion there to not have to throw the flag.
Do you think this is more about, like, it kind of came more to light in the Super Bowl where we saw, I think it was Antoine Winfield throw up the deuce right back at Tyreek Hill? You think that kind of made it more obvious? And, I mean, to be fair, Tyreek's done it right back to him. That's the only reason why it was kind of like, all right, cool, this is the opportunity. We're winning. There's really no chance of them coming back and, gave him the deuce. What are your you think that's kind of where this was like, all right, we kind of have to make this change?
It's part of it. And one of the concerns, especially from a coaches and officials perspective, is you allow something to go early in the game, and then it starts to escalate, right? And then it becomes, you did that to me, I'm going to do something back to you. And then it just kind of starts to snowball. And then we end up with something really big, an altercation, a fight, whatever it may be. And that was really kind of a microcosm of what they're trying to get out, right? Tyreek does it to him in the regular season game. Then he's obviously thinking about it. The next time we play them, if we get a chance and I get an opportunity, I'm going to do that back to Tyreek. And that's, that happens within a game or throughout a season. That can lead to bigger things. So it's absolutely was part of this conversation and why it's a point of emphasis.
Do you think this might be like a one and done kind of thing, or is it too early to tell that they could just like eliminate this whole thing? Kind of like the touchdown dances where they kind of like took it out for a whole year and then they just brought it back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think taunting is going to go away. The rule won't go away. Maybe the emphasis, and you change from year to year. There's different points of emphasis every year. You might emphasize something ineligibles downfield on a pass because you're seeing an uptick. You might emphasize that for 1 year, and then you kind of it regulates itself. So the foul isn't going away, but I don't know if we're going to see quite the microscope on it as we did, the first couple of weeks. I would imagine it's a high number, 14 through 5 weeks. I would imagine as the season goes on, you'll see less and less of those calls, and hopefully everybody gets the message, and we don't have those those 15-yard penalties as much as we did the early part of the year.
Yeah, those are game changers for sure. People, if you have any questions, drop them below. We'll definitely run it by Dean if it comes up. My other question for you, again, officiating has kind of been a major key in some of these games. I know the Steelers game, clearly Steelers look everywhere. I'm a Steelers fan, so I'm going to clearly be a little more pissed than the normal fan. But the Green Bay Packers game, we had some questions about Joe Hayden being offsides as the blocked field goal, which returned into a touchdown. They ruled offsides. I know Gene Steratore came on and said he was onside is what he thought. I don't know what your thoughts are on it. There's been a few questions on that call. I mean, again, I'm not as pissed because the Steelers did end up losing by more than a touchdown. So for me, I'm not going to be the guy and hold it. But again, it is a game changer.
Yeah, and that was one I didn't think he was offside. He went with the football. And so if he's not lined up offside, then there's no foul. And it's tough from an officiating perspective because – really, and that was something that I imagine the Steelers picked up on film. They had a tell. They knew when that snap was coming. They knew that whatever the snapper does right before the snap, they picked up on that because they were on it. They jumped as soon as the ball started to move. That's legal if I'm not lined up offside in the neutral zone. But from an officiating perspective, seeing it once, when they go that quick and maybe, Hayden goes quick and maybe one of the other defenders doesn't move as quickly, it's almost like an optical illusion and it feels like he's offside. Now, they shouldn't call it if they're not sure. You want to make sure because it's obviously a big play. They end up blocking it and returning it. And like I said, that certainly has an impact on the outcome of the game. It may not be the ultimate thing that decided it, but it's a factor. And I think that's one the officials, and they're working on that. They do training tapes, they look at film, and that was something that was highlighted with the officials after that game. And there was a couple of other plays. The Giants had one against Washington, Tampa had one, and you want to make sure your officials are calling that correctly.
So another question I have, and I know a few years back we had the awful trying to review pass interference calls when those are judgment calls. this is not really a judgment call. Again, technically it is because the officials are making the decision on if they're going to throw the flag or not. But my goodness, you have a camera. You have all these cameras down the line. I feel like that is something that should be reviewable. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it certainly could be reviewable. I think we've got to ask ourselves the question, how much is too much? How much technology is great. It continues to improve, but we're not eliminating the human factor, right? There's still somebody that's watching that camera angle and has to make a decision. And so it's not like it's going to be error proof. And again, do you want, right? Is it just the impactful ones? Do you want every offside to be looked at? Now we're stopping the game when it was a 2 or 3 yard play. Is it just the scoring plays, turnovers? There's certainly a way to do it. You just have to be mindful of, unnecessary delay in the game, killing the flow of the game, momentum, all of that's a factor. And, so maybe it's scoring plays and turnovers. You look at everything because those are big plays and you start there. But again, the competition committee has always been hesitant to open up those judgment calls, those fouls to replay. And we saw what happened with pass interference. It's a little bit of a different foul, like you said, but again, you got to worry about the unintended consequences and how does that impact the game?
Absolutely. You don't want to open up a can of worms. That's something you don't want to do and get out of hand.
We have Jack here who's asking about the double punt from last Thursday's game between the Seattle Seahawks and the LA Rams, which was honestly incredible on its own, that the fact that it even happened, and it also went 61 yards, if I remember correctly. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, so the key to that rule is the line of scrimmage, right? If the ball doesn't cross the line of scrimmage, then the punter can kick it again. So the ball was blocked. Dixon picked it up. He ran toward the line of scrimmage and he kicked it right at the line of scrimmage. So in order for it to be a foul, the ball would have to have crossed the line of scrimmage, come back, then you can't kick it again. Or if he kicked it beyond the line of scrimmage, meaning the entire ball and the body must be beyond the line. So I don't know if he knew where he was, but he got very lucky and it ended up working out very well for Seattle in that situation. But it's a really weird play. Haven't seen one like that in a long time. And, that's one where even you're sitting there and you're watching it and you kind of got to take a second and figure out, okay, let's think about the rule here. Let me process this. That's a tough one.
Well, I also got another play, too. I want to talk about the Monday night game where Lamar Jackson fumbled right on the goal line and Darius Leonard ended up returning it all the way back. But he also lateraled it off, but it was called back after review for a forward pass. I'll cue that up here. I want to know your thoughts on if that was like the right call. I mean, it's close. It's a really close call.
It was the right call by rule. And I think, and I know I had a hard time understanding this initially, and I think people have a hard time with this because he's trying to throw it back, right? He's trying to pitch it to his teammate, but ultimately the rule is where he releases it to where it's first touched. And if where it's first touched is in advance of where he released it, that's a forward pass. And in this instance, because we had a change of possession, he can't throw a forward pass. So it is a foul for an illegal forward pass. It is reviewable. It is close, but it was the right call. But I think, again, it's an optical illusion because when they pitch it, both players continue to move forward, but that release point doesn't change and where it's first touched doesn't change. And if where it's touched is in advance of where it was released from, it is a forward pass.
We also had some questions. I know my buddy was kind of going nuts on it. Not that he's against the Ravens or anything, but in that same game, we had that Lamar Jackson almost fumble. It kind of looked like he might have fumbled at the end there. I think he almost fumbled twice. I think that was an overtime. I don't know if you saw the replay on that. What were your thoughts on that? I know there's been a lot of questions of that game with some of the officiating.
Yeah, it was a really close play. And remember, in overtime, there's no coaches' challenges. So it's the replay official that's responsible for stopping the game on any reviewable aspect. So they're looking at all of that. And ultimately, they felt that it wasn't clear cut, that he did fumble. It was really close. I didn't think it was clear. So they let it go. But and I think that's another thing that people, they think because the game wasn't stopped for a formal review with the referee coming over and putting the headset on and making the announcement, that it's not looked at. They're looking at every play. They're looking at all reviewable aspects, and they're making decisions on those plays, regardless of whether a coach challenges or the game ultimately gets stopped, inside 2 minutes or after a score or a turnover.
They're kind of taking some things that you also were a part of with the XFL, with the Sky Judge this season kind of thing, where they're not really necessarily going to a review, but they are reviewing it, and it's speeding up the game. It's kind of good for football. I know you were a part of that with the XFL. What are your thoughts on that going on with the NFL this season, which is, again, speeding things up?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's the first step toward more of that Sky Judge concept. This is where the replay official up in the booth can provide objective information in real time. So if there's a close catch at the sideline and the officials are getting together and they're going to talk about it, the replay official can look at it right away, radio down, say, hey, it's a catch, or no, it's incomplete, his foot was out of bounds. And they can help fix some of those things if the initial call on the field is incorrect, or help the officials get it right. And the key is to do it seamless, to make sure that you're doing it in real time and that, the coach doesn't have to challenge. So it seems to be working really well. Excuse me. And I think that's a good thing.
I got another play too. So all the way back week 2, Dallas at the Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert on second and goal was kind of going back, and he had Michael Parsons in his face, and he kind of had to get the ball out, but I felt like the refs kind of blew it dead before he could really get down. Although we could see here, it never really reached the line of scrimmage, but they rolled him down by a sack. I'm not sure if this was the right call on this one.
Yeah, what they ruled was progress. They ruled that his forward progress was stopped in the grass, forward progress. And look, this is a judgment call. To me, it's not forward progress. You can see Herbert is really stiff-arming. Who's that, Parsons? He was stiff-arming Parsons and kind of trying to make a play there. And he wasn't wrapped up. It wasn't a safety issue where you're wrapped up, your progress is stopped, and now another defender's coming in. You want to kill that, blow that play dead, because you don't want that quarterback who's really in a defenseless posture to take an unnecessary hit. That wasn't the case there. Herbert really, he was able to stiff arm. He was able to get the ball out. I didn't think that was in the grasp in that situation.
So when do you find out what games you're going to be working this week? Every week, when do you usually find out what games you have? And just go through the process of that. I know fans are kind of always interested in what games you're given, how excited you get looking at matchups, like, oh, all right, cool, I'm in for a good game to watch here or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just like anybody else. I'm a fan, and I like, I'll look at the matchups. I know about a week out, what games I have on the college side, and then in the NFL side, I work with the same crews. So I'll know about a week out what games I have, and I'm excited, when I've got, two teams that, playing really well, and I'm excited about that matchup, and I look forward to it, just like everybody else. So yeah, but we know about a week out what games we're going to have.
What games you have this week, and if you're able to talk about that.
To be honest with you, I haven't even looked at it yet. I'll have to go look, but I've got it somewhere. But my week, I'm breaking down last week. I just finished a video. We do a video for all of our Fox Sports talent and production team, and it's rules based. So I'll do an NFL one and a college one. And so I just finished doing the NFL voiceover. It's usually about 15 minutes covering different plays like the double punt. Just so they have an idea of what the rules are, and it can help them going forward on future broadcasts.
Is there anything that the NFL officiating included that you're kind of like, oh my God, I'm so glad they included this in all your time doing, officiating, and now what you're doing at Fox?
Again, I just think I like what they're doing with video assistance in terms of real-time help with the officials. Again, in my time at the NFL, the technology was such a driver. When I first started, we didn't in the mid 90s, we didn't have replay, and the technology just wasn't there. And then you got digital technology where you could record the feed digitally and jump around. And then you think about high definition. High definition didn't come into the NFL's replay system until 2006, 2007. Before that, if you've ever seen when they play some of those old games, And when I say old, I'm not even talking about 50 years ago. I'm talking about like 2002. That's standard definition, and it looks like you're underwater watching the game. So it's definitely, technology has definitely improved. It's definitely helped officiating with different things, replay and training and evaluation. So I like to continue to use technology to help, but it's not a replacement. It shouldn't, be something that takes the place of the on-field officials being able to make decisions and officiate the game.
Speaking of the on-field officials, my bad. Well, Aaron Rodgers has been very vocal on the Pat McAfee show. I've actually enjoyed a lot of it. Again, Steeler fan, possible Aaron Rodgers sighting in the future. But he's talked a lot about the officiating this year, and a lot of players have. And I know he made a point, I think it might have been week 3, on how guys like you, Mike Pereira, he mentioned like a bunch of officials that are now working for ESPN, CBS, Fox, that these guys were all some of the best in the game, and now they're taking more money, which, I mean, geez, who wouldn't, to go sit in the booth and not have all the stress of making calls on the field, where the best of the best are now up in the booth. Like, you should have these guys on a committee kind of deal. I don't know if you heard his comments on that.
No, I watched the clip. Somebody sent me the clip, and I did watch it. And obviously, I'm humbled that Aaron Rodgers would mention me and some of my other colleagues in that vein. There's a lot of good people within officiating now. There's quality people, and it's just a hard job. It's a very unforgiving profession. Look, when I was there, people were complaining about officiating. They're always going to complain about officiating. It doesn't matter. I realized right away, it's one of the few industries where you could be really, really good at what you do and people still think you're a moron. Like, it's amazing. And it continues to get harder. Like I said, technology is improving. We're analyzing. The official gets one look at it. They get one look from their perspective. They got to make a call real time, bang, bang. And then we get to critique them on 5 different looks in slow motion from different angles. It's a really, really hard profession. And there's a lot of good people. And I think, again, it's just continuing to strive for better training, better evaluation, more consistency, and continuing to look for quality people. So I think you're never gonna get away from criticizing officiating. It's always been the case.
One final question. Is there anything that there was included in your job, like officiating or whatever, and they kind of just like chopped it and you're kind of like heartbroken over it? Is there anything like along those lines?
No, I mean, I loved what I did with the NFL, and I just had a great opportunity with Fox Sports and decided to go that direction. The things that I loved about it were, dealing with the coaches, being part of the rules change process and developing rules and how we can make the game better and safer and more fair. That was all really fun for me. The competition committee process on game day, making decisions, being a part of it. So there really wasn't anything that they took away. There were certainly things I would have given away that but just like any other job, it's not perfect. But it's pretty cool to, you get to watch football for a living. So I certainly can't complain.
Dean, It was an honor to talk to you. It's great having you back on to lead our first show here. I know you have a busy schedule. We got to get into our prediction side of things. We have a lot of stuff to get forward to. But, Dean, I want to let you go. I know you have a really busy schedule. It was an honor to talk to you again. I appreciate it.
Absolute honor.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dean. So it was an honor to talk to Dean. Well, I mean, geez Louise, what a
such a nice guy.
For uSTADIUM show, huh? What a start.
Such a nice guy. I mean, wouldn't want anything different. But let's kind of get into the rest of our topics and discussions today. There's just so much. So obviously, if you're a football fan, you obviously know what's happening all around the league right now with the John Gruden situation. He resigned as Raiders head coach on Monday night during the Ravens comeback during Monday Night Football. I'll get my screen shared here. There's an absolute just bombardment. I got to pull up. I've been getting a lot of my stuff through JPA Football over on Instagram, but you can also find a lot of the stuff too on our platform, uSTADIUM. So they've been posting updates on this every single time. Let's see. Let's go back into, let's see. I got to get back 5 days ago. I should have had this all set up. I'm choking under the pressure here.
No, but
But
it's really interesting, Will. This whole thing with him is kind of nuts. You got players coming out and talking on it. I know, current Steeler Carl Joseph, who was with the Raiders the past few seasons, so he was cut this off season. Yeah, he didn't really expect this from Gruden. And honestly, to be fair, this is over 10 years ago. A lot of this. This is when he was at ESPN.
2011 to 2018. That's when a whole lot of that stuff happened.
Yeah, and ironically, it was when he was working for ESPN, which is kind of nuts that he's out here posting all this stuff. But it's just you got players not seeing this coming. This is not the side of the coach they saw. The knock on wood if you're with me kind of guy in John Gruden. There's no place for it in football, and we might see a lot more stuff come out of this, and a lot more people get dragged in through the dirt here with this whole Washington email situation.
650,000 emails have been leaked essentially, and it goes through Jeff Fisher. Jeff Fisher has come out and said a statement that they liked Michael Sam's play because, again, Gruden called out a whole bunch of Michael Sam stuff. But Jeff Fisher came out and said to him and the Rams, they did not, they weren't, forced to take him. They said, hey, this is all based on play, and he had such great play. So that was that. And then Adam Schefter got thrown under the bus this morning through emailing Bruce Allen as Mr. Editor for that's a great name, Mr. Editor. But, please let me know if there's anything else I can add to this stuff, and just think of it as an iceberg, essentially. You can only see what's out of the water. You don't know how deep this is going to go and who's going to be kind of in with these jobs and stuff. This is kind of a very dangerous situation, to say the least.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's not dangerous if you're not smart. If you're not smart, I'm not a big time broadcaster. None of that yet. And none of that comes to my mind. Nothing
absolutely
that comes to my mind. Let me say this. Sometimes people, it's they don't think, it's they have too much power. Speaking of power, the Raiders offense, I know Ryan had commented here. That offense is going to be an absolute disaster now. We'll see what happens in Vegas. I know Carl Nassib took a day off today, rightfully so. I mean, a guy
Personal
that guy went to war for in Gruden, and all of a sudden you see the stuff that he was saying. It's definitely a disaster. It's not a good look at all, to be honest with you.
There is not a good look at all. But we like to bring our segments over into what we've done 47 episodes on our own platform, and now we get to introduce it onto here. So we like to talk about overreacting. So it's basically we're taking some segments and basically blowing it up to astronomical proportions. Do you have anything to mind out of week 5, out of the last 16 game slate before we get back to it in September? Well, December, not September. Yeah.
Yeah, overreactions. I mean, geez, you're going to always have them.
Davis Mills, greatest quarterback to ever live. Overreaction.
Overreaction.
Sliced up the number 1 defense. As I said, number 1 defense of New England.
It shouldn't have been mentioned. I hate that you did mention that, but can we stop overreacting on Dallas, folks? For the folks that think Dallas is overrated, they're not. They're not overrated. Dallas is a very good football team. I don't like Dallas. I've talked very highly on the past 4 shows that we've done, from our live Sunday show to our weekly show, just recapping the week going into next week. I've talked very highly of Dallas. All in on the Cowboys. I mean, they're legit. They seriously are very good, and you can't overreact to Dallas. They're serious contenders. I had them in the laughing stock. If you go back to our NFC East divisional show that we did, I didn't think Dallas was going to be that good. You could delete the tape, folks. Delete it. Don't go back and listen to it because I was completely wrong about Dallas. And
we were all wrong
because they're very good. And Dak looks fantastic. So congratulations to Dak. And
surefire comeback player of the year.
Absolutely.
Also, you gotta feel a little bit bad for the Lions, man. They literally recover a fumble late in the game, kick a supposedly game-winning field goal, and Kirk Cousins just Mr. 1 o'clock charges down the field, scores a touchdown. You got to feel a little bit bad. I mean, Dan Quinn was crying at his press conference. I actually felt bad. This man should have, a win, 2 wins. I mean,
oh gosh, don't even.
I want to say he is the guy in Detroit. He's showing a lot of emotion.
For not much talent.
In our preview, I mean, I kind of, went after and I said, this isn't the guy. 5 games in. I think he is the guy for Detroit. I think he's going to be able to bring him back, maybe to what Jim Caldwell did, bring him to the playoffs, couple over 500 seasons. I think he's the guy. I personally think he is the
I
guy.
hope they have the right general manager there for drafting, because he's got multiple first-round draft picks coming up. He should have a high one this season with his team. They seriously are a team that has to be looked out for in the future because they play hard. They really do. You saw the emotion from Dan Campbell there. Pretty much in tears, feeling bad for his guys. I mean, geez Louise, you're losing a 66-yarder. You lose the way you did to freaking Minnesota. It's kind of crazy, but it's I'm
like
not
it's a Detroit thing. It's such a Detroit thing to lose off of too.
Yeah, I don't want to spend 10 years on the Lions, but again, it's one of those things you have to shout out and give credit for, because I mean, geez Louise, the Raiders, the Lions, they're legit, man. They're legit. It's not like walking in what we thought Houston was going to be. Seriously, this season has been really competitive. It's been good football all the way around. We thought the Texans were going to be a dumpster fire. Here's Davis Mills playing good football, filling in for Tyrod Taylor, as you like to, as he said.
That's what Tyrod said. He says his name is Tyrod.
Stop it. See, but yeah, Tyrod. The way they've been playing there, they were supposed to be a dumpster fire, and they're winning some games, and they honestly could have won against New England if the offense kind of didn't disappear in the second half and the defense kind of let up. But what else we got, man?
Well, let's look at the buy, selling, and holding. Essentially, this is one of our fun games we like to do. And the headline says it all: buy, selling, and holding. We all have the same amount of player stocks, team stocks. And we just want to buy more of them, sell them off, and even hold them. It's kind of like Wall Street. You want to buy into what's low, sell high, all sorts of stuff. So what are you looking at for a buy this week?
I'm gonna buy all that Buffalo Bills stock. I mean, I was already on the wagon. They look legit. I'm holding on the Bills, man. We get our preview, our intro going. Yeah, go with Allen and the Bills. You'll be seeing plenty of that.
Something I want to buy. I mean, I could go Chargers because the Chargers are just electrifying, but I'm gonna go with the Bengals. They showed me so much in that loss to the Packers. I mean, this is the annual Mason Crosby game where he's going to shank 3 field goals in a single game. And the Packers were really fortunate to, come out as, the winners. But I'm going to buy a lot of Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, and the Bengals because the Bengals are a pretty legit team in the AFC North. I mean, the Bengals, the Browns, the Ravens, they're all really good. I got to see a little bit more from your Steelers before I could really put them in that category.
That's all right. That's fine. That's fine and dandy. That's all good. But for me, I'm holding your boy Sam Darnold and the Panthers. Wow, what a bad game from the Panthers. I got to hold there. Seriously, that's kind of where I'm at. CMC possibly back this week, which might make a ginormous difference because Chuba Hubbard's great and all, but he's not nearly in the sniffing range of what CMC is. So I got to hold on your Panthers. That's for certain.
A hold. I don't know where I want to hold exactly. I might want to say I want to hold on the Falcons. They did have a very good game, and that's without their top 2 receivers, Russell Gage and Calvin Ridley. But Kyle Pitts had a monster game. But I want to hold out on them and just see where they can go. I know it's the Jets. It's the same old Jets. But I want to see where they can go from here. I mean, going into the bye week, Daryl Patterson, a headline I really wanted to use, was silent against the Jets. But I want to see where they could go, especially moving forward with a big win in London before returning back to the States.
Yeah, for me, I also got to sell Kansas City. I'm over it. I think last week I held them. I'm over it. I picked them to win. I'm over it. I'm seriously done with the Chiefs. I really am. They're an absolute dumpster fire. They have problems all over the field. And, I'm selling Kansas City. You cannot convince me. I'm over it. I really am. The Chargers look legit. Denver's not a pushover. We'll see what the Raiders are now without
Gruden and company.
So we'll see how that is because that's a disaster there in Vegas. But yeah, I'm done. I'm not giving Kansas City the light of day. Conversation-wise, I'm over it until they literally prove otherwise. If they win this week, whatever. Congrats, you won a game like the Steelers won. I'm not buying Pittsburgh back or holding Pittsburgh. Yeah, I want to see a little consistency here. I'm over Kansas City. I really am.
I'm going to have to sell off on the Giants. I mean, that Saquon injury is going to be very brutal, and it's a very major injury, especially for the Giants. I mean, Daniel Jones looked absolutely demolished after the fact he got that concussion. And plus, they lost, Kenny Golladay. They ended up losing a bunch of people on their offense, and Kadarius Toney's now questionable. So they could be down 4 legitimate targets against arguably their hardest game of the year this Sunday against the Rams.
Can't wait. I'll be there, man. But no, Sterling Shepard is good to go. And it sounds like Daniel Jones is working his way through the concussion protocol. I feel
like he's not going to miss this game. I feel like he can, but they're going to be down a lot of targets.
I feel like he's on leg 3, and I think Tony's going to be good to go. He had no issues with that ankle in the MRI. So I think he's going to be good to go as well. So Golladay, that's the shocker. He's hurt again.
But let's look into top games from the past week. I mean, last 16 game slate till December. There was not a bad game of football this weekend. There was 0 bad football. Every game was good from beginning to end. But what are you looking at for your top games?
Top games for me, it's got to be Ravens Colts. I said to my dad, again, you can't be right all the time. I said an 85% chance the Colts win this. He goes, oh, my God, here comes the Ravens. I'm like, no. I know Ryan's a Ravens fan here. Yuck. But I respect the Ravens. But, they're good, dude. Lamar showed up, and that was a great game. I mean, Monday night, what a game. So hats off to the Ravens. That's my top game. Lamar, I mean, what's been the hit on Lamar? The Ravens are down. They're not coming back. They cannot come back. They came back, and, again, that was a depleted secondary. My gosh, that the Colts defense was kind of banged up at the end there. But a win's a win, and they came back and won. So good for the Ravens.
I feel bad for a lot of those people that had to go against Lamar, Hollywood Brown, Mark Andrews in fantasy, because essentially you think you have a locked for, you don't have to worry about anyone coming back. And then Lamar drops 50, Mark Andrews dropping 35, Hollywood Brown's dropping 30. I'm thankful I didn't have to go against them, but I got 2 games. Obviously, number 1, probably this could be the game of the year. The Cleveland Browns and the LA Chargers. Fire on both sides of the ball, just under 100 points and just under 1,100 yards of total offense, just scoring all over the place. I mean, unfortunately, I started the Chargers defense for some reason. I don't know why in fantasy, but an absolute great game all around. And plus, I benched Justin Herbert because I had to jump on the Sam Darnold train like a fool. But I still put up 210. I still put up 210.
Let him go. Let him go. Enough is enough with Darnold. Let him go. He's gone.
I'm not letting him go.
Let him go. It's all right.
Letting him go. But also the other game too. Another one of my boys, Geno Smith, almost posted that fantastic comeback against the Rams. Ultimately fell short with a Tyler Lockett tripping over himself. But Geno Smith coming in the game, he looked phenomenal in that 98-yard drive to start his Seahawks starting quarterback journey. And plus the Rams too. Robert Woods had that electrifying blow-up game of 15 catches. I believe he was north of 152 through the air. So those are my top games for the week. Yeah, 12 receptions, 150 for Mr. Robert Woods. And I had him in another league as well. Let's get set up here. So we do our weekly predictions here. Colton and I believe I beat Colton this week. This is the first time I beat Colton.
I told you.
He gave me a few games. I believe I ended up with 11. He ended up with 10. But we go through these games.
I gave you a few, and I still didn't let you that much.
Wow. Yeah, you still didn't let me that much. I blame the Jets for that one, because that's where that game ended up going south. But we go through every single one of these games, and we kind of basically talk about what we're thinking of for each week. So we got Thursday Night Football here. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Philadelphia Eagles. Who are you looking at to pick here?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bucs. They might get healthier this week. I don't know what Gronk's status is. I know it's kind of been up in the air. He might be back this week, kind of like he should be. I don't know. I got to double check on that one, but I'm taking the Bucs. I know big one for the Eagles against Carolina. Yeah, I don't think they do it back-to-back weeks. And if so, again, delete the NFC East. We're literally going to go back and that's not going to ever be found again. I'm over it. I had a lot of question marks on the Eagles, and they pulled this one out. I really don't know what to say, but yeah, you can give me the Bucs.
Well, I'm going to take the Bucs as well. And plus also bye weeks this week: Atlanta, New Orleans, the New York Jets, and the San Francisco 49ers all on the week 6 bye. Early England football, the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Miami Dolphins. Where are you going with this one?
Yeah, I'm going to take the team that actually has somewhat of a defense. So I'm going to take the Dolphins. Tua might be back. And this is a game Tua needs to get going. Tua's had no momentum. really in his career so far in the NFL. He's kind of been like, oh yeah, you're bad. Like we're kind of competitive. I got to bench it. Fitzpatrick getting the games. Like and then this season he's got some weapons. Will Fuller was out the first game, so he never had that opportunity. And then he gets Will Fuller involved. He gets hurt. Will Fuller's gone. Shocker. And yeah, we're back to square one. So he needs to get going. I got to take the Dolphins.
I'm going to match you with the Dolphins as well. Let's see. Let's be looking at Kansas City at Washington. I feel like you might have to go with the obvious here.
Yeah, you can give me Kansas City. I'm like kind of over it. I'm going to take them like every week, it feels like, but like Lord knows at this rate. But yet, Washington's defense isn't as good as we kind of thought they were, showing some cracks in that back end. So yeah, you can give me Kansas City barbecue.
I'm going to be also taking the Chiefs. I'm going to fill you in for the sweep on this next game. The LA Rams at the Giants. I'll fill you in right here for a guaranteed Rams victory. Let's see. Houston Texans at the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, you didn't have to waste time on this one either. You can fill me in with the Colts.
I'm also gonna go through this one as well. Cincinnati at Detroit. I mean, this isn't gonna be a pushover game, but this is gonna be something.
I don't know, man. This is a game I can see Detroit somehow winning. Like I'm gonna be the idiot to start Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow doesn't really do too much. I'm gonna stick with my gut and go Bengals, but man, I'm really convinced that like Detroit's gotta win one of the. No. I'm getting the game back. Give me the Lions, man. It's like it's due. It's like the Lions are really due. Like they should have beaten the dang Ravens. They've had a lot of heartbreak this season. They're getting their win this season. They saw their coach cry. They're like, "That's a grown man crying. I'm gonna go run through a brick wall," and then they're gonna win today. They're gonna win this week. Give me the Lions, dude.
Well, I'm gonna go opposite. I'll take the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm on that Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow train. I think the AFC North actually runs Detroit Stadium for just some reason. There's always a great game, no matter who's playing there. If it's from the AFC North, there's always an electrifying game from the opposing team. Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, you can fill this one in as well. You know where this is going.
Give you Green Bay. Honestly, matchup of the 1 o'clock hour. The LA Chargers at the Baltimore Ravens.
I thought there was going to be like a low from the Chargers at this rate. Like, oh gosh, they come off a big win, Kansas City. I got to go Chargers till otherwise proven. Like the Ravens are really, really good. Again, Ryan, don't kill me, but they're really good. We'll see what happens. I might be wrong again, but man, the Chargers just look really, really good. I think Staley's clearly going to be coach of the year, and Herbert might be MVP. Like that's kind of where we're at here. Yeah, Ryan's here with me on this one, but yeah, it's just. Chargers are legit, man. There's no like confusing it. They're legit.
I'm gonna match with the Chargers with you, but I feel like this game's gonna be going down to the mere wire. Essentially, this game's like I don't think it's gonna be like a blowout in any sense, but I think it's just we're gonna be watching this game. It's gonna be 3 seconds, or it can honestly end in overtime again for the Ravens.
Yeah, I can see the Ravens possibly pulling this out because again, the best kicker of all time. Sorry, what's his name?
Adam Vinatieri.
Adam Vinatieri. I mean, Tucker's literally the best ever. He's killed my team a bazillion times. The guy's like literally the best to ever do it. So yeah, I mean, I could see them literally pulling it out of a hat because this guy's nuts. Like he'll literally hit a 67-yard. It doesn't matter. Like I wouldn't be surprised at this rate.
The Minnesota Vikings at the Carolina Panthers.
I think Minnesota bounces back. Carolina bounces back here, and it must win pretty much. It sounds kind of dumb, but like if the Bucks win, it's gonna kind of get like they got to win this week.
I actually chose the Vikings on this one.
Not a bad.
It's not a bad. It's not a bad play.
What's it called? It's a must win.
I know, but if Dalvin Cook's not playing, at least they can rely on Madison. But Dalvin Cook's honestly like the meat and the potatoes of the offense. Kirk Cousins has been playing lights out. Like he's been playing some of his best football like we have ever seen. And I think it's about time we can give him his respect for that. Guaranteed. Let's see the Arizona Cardinals at the Cleveland Browns. This is another great game for this week.
Yeah, you can give me the Cards. I mean, you might as well keep this train going while we're at it, right?
I'm taking Cleveland on this one. I might be giving you a game there. I don't know.
If this game turns into a shootout, I mean, I got to go with the little tiny man that's going to like make some people pay for, it's clear as day I'm going Cardinals.
Let's see. We're the Las Vegas Raiders at the Denver Broncos.
I got to take the Broncos. Nice little fight there at the end from Teddy B. I think they win, especially in a meltdown situation right now in Vegas with that whole situation.
I'm taking Vegas because I'm never going to pick the Denver Broncos again. They always give me a heartbreak every single time, especially the last couple of weeks. I'm not giving them the light of day ever again.
Well, thanks for the game, I guess.
Let's see. Dallas Cowboys at the New England Patriots.
Yeah, you can give me the boys. Again, I'm kind of picking them until like otherwise proven. Like it's kind of where it is. I don't imagine all those people. Where are you at? Where are the people at? Hold on, I'm waiting for it. The Pats are going to be a playoff team this year. Oh, where's that? They're awful.
You can at me next time, okay? Because I picked them as a 7 seed.
Bill spent money in the wrong direction. Surprise, surprise. Like if you ask any normal fan who's Kendrick Bourne, who did he play for? Someone in the messages, please tell me without looking it up where Kendrick Bourne played. Because
I know where he played.
I'm a nut job sports fan. I can tell you where he played. But the average NFL fan who just likes their team, they're not going to have any clue. He played for the 49ers. No one cares. He's not that good. Oh, and wow, Nesanago, you paid him a lot of money. He had one good year in Vegas, and wow, he's irrelevant. Who's still your number one receiver? Jacoby Myers. Waste of money. Good job, Bill. Golly. What a dope. You missed Brady. You made a mistake. Come out and say you messed up. Golly.
Sunday night I can't believe this is a Sunday night football game, but I'm going to have to stay up and watch it. The Seattle Seahawks at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I'm taking, you know where I'm going. Steelers are getting back in business here. They're going to go into their bye, hopefully, what would that be? 3-3. Yeah, hopefully they're 500 here after this week. I think the Steelers get it done now. They're going to give Geno Smith some issues.
Oh my God. I have to go through my emails really quick. I know this is very unprofessional.
Good job. Well, surprise.
I know. Surprise from me, but well, I don't even have it in here because I sent it to the wrong one. Wait, let me see. I sent it to my actual other email. No subject? Yes, here we go. Let's open this in a new tab. As bad as this looks, let me set this back up here. You want to know where I'm going with this one? I hope this is the right one. Yes, it is. I've saved this meme. I've been using uSTADIUM for 6 years, and I've saved this thing for so long. I am picking Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks. I am all over the place right now with Geno Smith. So
again, what's the record in the picks? Like, see, this is a silly pick. Like,
listen.
No, I'm not giving you the time of day. What's the Monday night game? Well,
the Monday night game. You seriously just gonna cut me off like that?
Oh God, no. What else do you have to say about Geno Smith that no one cares?
He's a god. Okay, but I already know where I'm gonna go with the Monday night pick. But Buffalo Bills at the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, you can give me a lock. Go down in the Bills. Go down.
I'll lock in the. I'll be locking in the Bills as well. And that, ladies and gentlemen, rounds out our show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you again, Dean Blandino, for coming on and just spending the first 25 minutes of the show with us. I mean, I'll be honest, I was so nervous the entire day before him coming on because this is the largest guest I've ever had the chance to talk to. So I was shaking the entire day, but I'm glad it was calm, cool, and collected. We got it out of the way. It was awesome. I want to thank you, Dean, again for all this.
Yeah, Dean, a blast. Definitely get some more quarterback or officiating controversy. He'll gladly come back on the Play Action podcast. Definitely an honor to talk to him again. I want to thank the guys here at uSTADIUM for letting us tag along here for this wonderful ride, and we're glad to bring our show here with them. First one out of the way, definitely a blast.
But thanks again, ladies and gentlemen. You can follow us on all of these glorious platforms: Instagram, the Play Action Podcast; Facebook, Play-Action Podcast; and Twitter, Play Action Pod 1. We'll make sure to get Twitter a lot more active. We usually just kind of cue live shows on there as we go through, but we're going to definitely get that going a lot more. But I'm Will, and this is Colton, and thank you guys for tuning in to the Play Action Podcast.